The crisp November air in New York carried a bite that hinted at winter's approach. Anna Wilson, 32, sat at her sleek desk in her Brooklyn design studio, her pencil dancing across the page as she sketched a nursery for her sister's unborn child. The soft lines of a crib and pastel clouds took shape, but her hand trembled slightly. 6 months ago, Anna had lost her own baby, a wound that still bled quietly beneath her polished exterior. She was a rising star in interior design, renowned for breathing new life into crumbling Manhattan brownstones and historic lofts. Her work had recently graced the cover of Architectural Digest, but no amount of success could fill the hollow space inside her. Her studio buzzed with the hum of creativity, mood boards pinned to the walls, fabric swatches scattered across a table, and the faint scent of coffee lingering in the air. Yet Anna's mind drifted, her gaze fixed on the gray skyline beyond her window. The city pulsed with life, but she felt detached, as if watching it through a fog. Anna, client on line 2, called Leah, her assistant, poking her head through the glass door. Anna blinked, snapping back to reality. She set down her pencil, closed her sketchbook, and forced a smile. Thanks, Leah. Put them through. Her voice was warm, professional, masking the ache that clung to her. After a brief call discussing a loft renovation in Tribeca, her phone vibrated on the desk. The screen flashed, Mom. Anna's stomach tightened. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the decline button, but obligation won out. Hi, Mom, she said, her tone measured. Anna, you haven't forgotten about dinner tonight, have you? Kathleen Wilson's voice carried its usual edge of reproach. It's Emily's pregnancy celebration. Your father's picked out a special bottle of Pinot Noir. Anna closed her eyes, pinching the bridge of her nose. No, I haven't forgotten. I'll be there at 7. Good. And one more thing, Kathleen added, her voice brightening with expectation. Could you help with the decorations for Emily's baby shower next weekend? You're so good at that sort of thing. Anna's jaw tightened. Emily, her younger sister at 28, had always been the golden child, effortlessly charming, doted on by their parents. Anna, the overachiever, was expected to contribute her talents to the family's endless parade of events, no matter how raw her own wounds were. Mom, I'm swamped with work. I checked with Jake, Kathleen cut in. He said your schedule's clear. Anna's irritation flared. Her husband, Jake, 35, was always polite, too polite, when it came to her parents. He didn't yet fully grasp the tangled web of expectations and subtle slights that defined her relationship with her family. Fine, she said, her voice clipped. I'll help. Wonderful. See you tonight, dear. Kathleen hung up, leaving Anna staring at her phone, a familiar weight settling in her chest. She leaned back in her chair, her eyes drifting to a framed photo on her desk, her and Jake at their wedding 3 years ago, laughing under a canopy of fairy lights. Jake was her anchor, the one person who saw through her carefully curated facade. But even he couldn't shield her from the growing distance she felt from her family. Leah, I'm stepping out for lunch, Anna called, grabbing her coat. She needed air, needed to clear her head before facing her parents' Upper East Side mansion tonight. That evening, Anna and Jake drove through Manhattan's glittering streets, the city's energy a stark contrast to the tension in their car. Jake, a corporate lawyer with a steady demeanor, glanced at his wife. Her dark hair was pulled into a neat bun, but her fingers twisted nervously in her lap. You okay? He asked softly. You don't have to push yourself tonight. Anna managed a small smile. I'm fine. They're my family. Jake nodded, but his jaw tightened. He loved Anna fiercely, but he couldn't ignore how her parents had grown colder since her miscarriage. Their dismissive comments, you're young, you'll try again, had cut deeper than they realized. He wanted to protect her, but Anna's sense of duty to her family was a wall he hadn't yet breached. As they pulled up to the Wilson mansion, its grand facade loomed under the streetlights. The front door swung open, and Emily bounded out, her slight baby bump barely visible under her cashmere sweater. At 28, she radiated the glow of early pregnancy, her blonde hair catching the light. Anna. Jake. You're here. Emily's hug was tight, almost performative, as she kissed Jake's cheek. Everyone's inside. Come on. The living room was a tableau of wealth, crystal chandeliers, mahogany furniture, and a fire crackling in the hearth. Richard Wilson, 60, stood with a whiskey in hand, his presence commanding as he shook Jake's hand. How's the firm, Jake? Closed that merger yet? Kathleen, 58, air-kissed Anna's cheek. You look thin, dear. Are you eating enough? Her eyes flicked over Anna, sharp and critical. You need to move past everything. Anna's smile faltered, but she nodded. Her parents had treated her miscarriage like a minor inconvenience, urging her to get over it. Her doctor's words echoed in her mind. Your stress is taking a physical toll, but to her family, she was overreacting, always too sensitive. Dinner was a whirlwind of Emily's news, her latest ultrasound, her husband Noah's promotion, the baby's nursery plans. Anna ate quietly, nodding when expected, while Jake's hand found hers under the table, a silent lifeline. She tried to focus on the conversation, but a nagging unease grew. Something about Emily's bright smiles and her parents' pointed remarks felt off. After dessert, Anna excused herself to the kitchen, needing a moment to breathe. As she poured a glass of water, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was Emily's Instagram, a post from an hour ago. Asterisk, big surprise at the baby shower next week. Especially for someone close to my heart. Stay tuned. Asterisk, a photo of Emily beaming, her hand on her bump, accompanied the caption. Anna's heart skipped. The words felt pointed, almost mocking. Was the surprise for her? And if so, why did it fill her with dread? She returned to the dining room, her smile back in place, but the unease lingered. As Jake drove them home, he glanced at her. You're quiet. What's going on? Anna hesitated, then showed him the post. It's probably nothing, right? Just Emily being dramatic. Jake's brow furrowed. Maybe, but I don't like it. Keep your guard up. Anna nodded, staring out at the city lights. The crack in her perfect life was widening, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something darker waited just out of sight. The Manhattan skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Anna Wilson's Brooklyn studio, but the November chill seeped into her bones. It was Monday, 3 days after the tense family dinner at her parents' Upper East Side mansion. Anna, 32, sat at her drafting table, her pencil idle over a half-finished sketch of a nursery. The soft curves of a rocking chair blurred as her mind replayed her mother's sharp words. You need to move past everything. The dismissal of her miscarriage stung like a fresh wound. She rubbed her temples, trying to focus, but Emily's cryptic Instagram post haunted her. Big surprise at the baby shower, for someone close to my heart. The studio door swung open, and Leah, her assistant, breezed in with a coffee. You look like you need this, she said, setting the cup down. Rough weekend. Anna forced a smile. Just family stuff. You know how it is. Leah raised an eyebrow but didn't press. Got a call from the Tribeca client. They loved your latest mock-up. Said you're a genius. Thanks, Leah. Anna's voice was warm, but her heart wasn't in it. She was a master at crafting beautiful spaces, yet her own life felt like a room with crumbling walls. She sipped the coffee, its bitterness mirroring her mood, and glanced at her phone. No new messages from her mother, Kathleen, or sister, Emily. That silence felt louder than their usual demands. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jake, her husband. Lunch at 1? I'm near your studio. Anna's shoulders relaxed slightly. Jake, 35, was her safe harbor in the storm of her family dynamics. She typed back. Perfect. See you then. At noon, Anna met Jake at a cozy cafe in Dumbo, its exposed brick walls and warm lighting a stark contrast to the cold city outside. Jake, in a tailored suit, stood as she approached, his hazel eyes softening. You okay? He asked, pulling out her chair. Anna hesitated, then nodded. Just feeling off. That dinner was a lot. Jake's jaw tightened. He'd noticed the shift in her parents' behavior since her miscarriage 6 months ago, Kathleen's cutting remarks, Richard's indifference, Emily's smug radiance. They don't see what you're going through, he said, his voice low. You don't have to keep playing their game. They're family, Anna said, almost reflexively. But the words felt hollow. She stirred her latte, avoiding his gaze. Mom asked me to handle the baby shower decorations. I couldn't say no. Jake leaned forward, his hand covering hers. You can say no, Anna. You're allowed to protect yourself. She looked up, her blue eyes glistening. I know, but Emily's pregnant, and I want to be happy for her. I should be happy. Her voice cracked, betraying the guilt she carried for her tangled emotions. Jake squeezed her hand. You're human. And that Instagram post? It's weird. I don't trust it. Anna pulled out her phone, opening Emily's post again. The photo of her 28-year-old sister, glowing with her slight baby bump, was captioned with that unsettling promise of a surprise. Comments from Emily's friends gushed with excitement, but Anna felt a chill. Maybe it's just a gender reveal, she said, more to convince herself. Maybe, Jake said, unconvinced. But keep your eyes open. Emily's always loved the spotlight. That evening, Anna worked late, tweaking designs for a Soho penthouse. The studio was quiet, save for the hum of her laptop. Her phone rang, startling her. The screen read, "Aunt Mary." Anna's face lit up. Mary, 55, Jake's father's sister, was a warm, no-nonsense woman who lived in Chicago but visited New York occasionally. To Anna, she was more family than her own parents. "Mary, how are you?" Anna answered, her voice brighter. "Better now, hearing you," Mary said, her Midwest accent comforting. "I'm coming to New York this weekend. Can we catch up? I'd love to see you and Jake." "Absolutely," Anna said, her tension easing. "Stay with us. We'd love that." "Deal." "And Anna," Mary's tone shifted, more serious. "How are you holding up?" "Jake mentioned the dinner. Said your folks were tough." Anna's throat tightened. Jake had confided in Mary, something she hadn't expected. "It's complicated," she admitted. "Mom and Dad are all about Emily's pregnancy. It's like my loss doesn't exist." Mary sighed. "That's not right. You don't deserve to be invisible. Be careful at that baby shower, okay? I've got a bad feeling." Anna's stomach nodded. "Why? Did Jake say something else?" "He's worried," Mary said. "Said your parents and Emily have been acting strange since. Well, you know. Just watch your back." After hanging up, Anna sat in the dim studio, Mary's words echoing. She opened Instagram again, scrolling through Emily's recent posts. Photos of baby clothes, ultrasound images, and Emily's radiant smiles filled the feed. But one comment caught Anna's eye from Emily's friend. "Can't wait for the big reveal. You're gonna steal the show." Anna's pulse quickened. What was Emily planning? Later that night, Anna curled up on the couch in their Brooklyn apartment, a glass of wine in hand. Jake sat beside her, his laptop open to case files. The city's hum filtered through the windows, a constant reminder of the world moving on. Anna leaned her head on his shoulder, seeking comfort. "Mary's coming this weekend," she said. "She wants to talk. I think she knows something's off with my family." Jake closed his laptop, turning to her. "Good. Mary's sharp. And she's got your back." He hesitated, then added, "I saw Emily's Instagram again. That surprise post. It's not sitting right with me." Anna nodded, her fingers tightening around her glass. "I keep telling myself it's nothing, but I feel like I'm walking into a trap." Jake pulled her close, his arm a steady anchor. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. You're not alone in this." Anna rested against him, but her mind raced. The baby shower loomed like a storm cloud, and Emily's vague promise felt like a taunt. She thought of her miscarriage, the grief her family had brushed aside, and the growing distance between them. Why did their love feel so conditional? And why did Emily's surprise fill her with dread? As she drifted to sleep that night, Anna dreamed of a dark stage, Emily in the spotlight, her smile sharp as a blade. Anna stood in the shadows, unheard, unseen. When she woke, her heart pounded, and one thought lingered. Whatever Emily had planned, it wasn't a celebration, it was a reckoning. The Manhattan restaurant, a restored 19th century gym Anna had redesigned 2 years ago, buzzed with the energy of Emily's baby shower. Pink and blue balloons floated above elegant tables, their soft glow reflecting off the polished hardwood floors. Anna, 32, stood near the entrance of the second-floor banquet hall, her pale green dress a quiet contrast to the vibrant decor she'd meticulously arranged. Her heart pounded, a mix of dread and determination. Emily's Instagram post, "Big surprise, for someone close to my heart," had gnawed at her all week, and Aunt Mary's warning echoed, "Be careful at that baby shower." Jake, 35, stood beside her, his hand brushing hers in silent reassurance. "You don't have to stay long," he whispered, his hazel eyes scanning the room. "We can leave any time." Anna nodded, forcing a smile. "I'll be fine. Let's just get through this." But her stomach twisted. The opulent hall, with its soaring ceilings and crystal chandeliers, felt like a stage set for something sinister. The room hummed with chatter as guests, friends, relatives, and Emily's social circle mingled with champagne flutes in hand. Emily, 28, radiant in a flowing white maternity dress, held court in the center, her laughter bright but sharp. Her husband, Noah, 30, lingered nearby, his expression strained, as if he sensed the undercurrent Anna couldn't shake. Kathleen Wilson, 58, swept over, her designer heels clicking. "Anna, you late," she said, her smile tight. "The decorations look adequate. Come, Emily's waiting." She gripped Anna's arm, steering her toward the crowd. Anna glanced back at Jake, who followed closely, his jaw set. Mary, 55, had arrived from Chicago that morning and stood near the bar, her sharp blue eyes taking in the scene. She'd hugged Anna tightly upon arrival, whispering, "I'm here for you." Now, she gave Anna a subtle nod, a reminder of her support. Emily spotted Anna and broke into an exaggerated smile. "Big sister," she called, pulling Anna into a stiff embrace. "You made it. The place looks amazing, thanks to you." Her voice was saccharine, her eyes glinting with something Anna couldn't place. Noah shifted uncomfortably, avoiding Anna's gaze. "Congratulations, Emily," Anna said, her tone gentle but guarded. "It's a beautiful party." "Oh, it's all your magic," Emily replied, her smile widening. "This restaurant is practically your masterpiece." The compliment felt hollow, like a prelude to something else. Richard Wilson, 60, approached, a whiskey in hand. "My girls," he said, his gaze lingering on Emily. "Anna, the gift table's over there. Let's keep the focus on the celebration." His tone was dismissive, as if Anna's presence was an afterthought. Anna placed her carefully chosen gift, a handmade baby blanket, on the table, her fingers lingering on the soft fabric. She wanted to feel joy for her sister, but the weight of her own loss pressed harder. Jake and Mary stayed close, their presence a lifeline as Anna moved through the crowd, helping Kathleen with last-minute tasks. The afternoon wore on, and Anna began to relax slightly, lulled by the rhythm of small talk and clinking glasses. She was arranging a dessert tray when a hush fell over the room. Emily stood in the center, holding a microphone, her smile dazzling under the chandelier's light. "May I have your attention, please?" Emily's voice rang out, clear and commanding. Anna froze, her pulse spiking as she stepped out from the kitchen. Jake and Mary moved closer, their eyes locked on Emily. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate our little miracle," Emily began, her hand resting on her bump. "But today, we have 2 reasons to celebrate." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room before landing on Anna. A chill ran down Anna's spine. Emily's smile twisted, a flicker of cruelty in her eyes. "The second is for my sister, Anna. We're celebrating her, moving on from her loss." The room went silent, the air thick with shock. Anna's legs wobbled, her breath catching. The words sliced through her, exposing her grief to the crowd. Jake's face darkened, his fist clenching. "Emily, what the hell?" he growled, stepping forward. Emily laughed, a high, brittle sound. "Oh, come on, it's a joke. Anna's fine, right?" She looked at Anna, her expression daring her to react. Noah's face paled, his hand reaching for Emily's arm, but she shrugged him off. Anna's voice trembled but carried through the silence. "That's not funny, Emily. It's cruel." Her eyes burned with tears, but she held her ground, the weight of every guest's stare pressing on her. Kathleen stormed over, her face flushed with anger. "Anna, don't make a scene," she hissed, grabbing Anna's shoulder. "You're ruining Emily's day. It was just a joke." "A joke?" Anna's voice rose, shaking. "She's mocking my miscarriage." The word hung in the air, raw and unfiltered. Guests shifted uncomfortably, some looking away, others whispering. Mary pushed through the crowd, her voice sharp. "Kathleen, let go of her. Now." But Kathleen's grip tightened, her nails digging into Anna's skin. "You're always so dramatic," she snapped. "Can't you just be happy for your sister?" The room spun. Anna tried to pull free, her heart racing as Kathleen's words echoed her lifelong role, the dutiful daughter, expected to swallow her pain. She stumbled backward, the crowd parting as she neared the ornate staircase leading to the lower floor. Kathleen followed, her voice rising. "Stop overreacting." In the chaos, Anna's heel caught on the edge of the top step. Kathleen's hand shot out, not to steady her, but in a sharp push. Anna gasped, her arms flailing as she lost balance. Time slowed, the chandelier's light blurring above her. Jake's shout, "Anna," was the last thing she heard as she fell, tumbling down the stairs. Pain exploded through her body as she hit the marble floor below. Gasps and screams erupted from the guests. Anna's vision swam, the mural she designed on the ceiling, a swirl of stars and clouds, mocking her as darkness closed in. Her final thought was bitter. "Even my fall isn't a space I created." She woke to the sterile scent of disinfectant and a throbbing ache in her arm. Blinking against the harsh hospital lights, Anna saw Jake's worried face hovering above her. "Anna, can you hear me?" His voice was thick with relief, his hand gripping hers. "Jake." Her voice was hoarse. "Where?" "You're in the hospital," he said, his eyes red-rimmed. "You fell. But you're going to be okay." Mary stood by the window, her face etched with anger and concern. A man in a suit, Detective Clark, approached her bedside. "Ms. Wilson, I'm Detective Clark. How are you feeling?" "It hurts," Anna murmured, her mind foggy. "What happened?" Clark's expression was grim. You fell from the second floor. But we have reason to believe it wasn't an accident. He glanced at Jake and Mary, then back at Anna. Noah, your sister's husband, came forward. He says your family may have intentionally harmed you. Anna's breath caught, the room tilting. What? The word was a whisper, but it carried the weight of a lifetime of doubts, now crystallizing into a terrifying truth. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic, its white walls closing in as Anna Wilson, 32, lay in her bed, her right arm in a cast and bruises blooming across her back. The pain was sharp but dulled by medication, nothing compared to the ache in her chest. Detective Clark's words echoed in her mind. Noah says your family may have intentionally harmed you. Her fall at Emily's baby shower, her sister's cruel joke about her miscarriage, her mother's push down the stairs. It all swirled into a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Jake, 35, sat beside her, his hand clasped around hers, his face etched with exhaustion and fury. You're safe now, he said, his voice steady despite the storm in his hazel eyes. We're going to figure this out. Aunt Mary, 55, stood by the window, her arms crossed, her sharp gaze flicking between Anna and Detective Clark. The Chicago native had been a rock since arriving in New York, her presence a reminder that family could mean more than blood. Tell her everything, Mary said to Clark, her tone firm. She deserves to know. Clark, a middle-aged man with a calm demeanor, nodded. Ms. Wilson, Noah Foster, your sister's husband, came to us an hour ago. He's provided evidence suggesting your fall wasn't an accident. More than that, he claims your family may have caused you harm before, during your pregnancy. Anna's breath hitched, her free hand clutching the hospital blanket. My miscarriage? Her voice was barely a whisper, the word heavy with 6 months of buried grief. You're saying they did something? Clark hesitated, choosing his words carefully. Noah turned over text messages from Emily's phone and pharmacy receipts. We found medications at your parents' Upper East Side home, drugs that, pending lab analysis, may have induced your miscarriage. We're investigating whether they were administered to you without your knowledge. The room spun. Anna's eyes filled with tears, her mind racing to piece together the betrayal. Why? Why would they do that? Her voice broke, raw and disbelieving. Jake's grip tightened, his knuckles white. They're monsters, he muttered, his anger barely contained. Mary stepped closer, her hand resting on Anna's shoulder. Noah said it's about control. Your parents, Kathleen and Richard, saw Emily as their legacy. They wanted her to be the one to carry the Wilson name forward, not you, especially since you took Jake's last name. Anna's heart pounded. But I'm their daughter too. The words felt childish, a plea for a love she'd never fully received. Clark cleared his throat. According to Noah, Emily was jealous of your success, your marriage, your pregnancy. Text messages show her resentment grew after you announced you were expecting. She and your parents discussed ensuring Emily's child would be the first grandchild. Anna covered her face, tears streaming through her fingers. The memories flooded back. Emily's odd insistence on making tea during visits, Kathleen's dismissive comments about her health, the strange fatigue she'd felt during her pregnancy. I trusted them, she whispered. I thought I was just unlucky. The door opened, and a woman in a sharp blazer entered, her presence commanding. Anna, I'm Laura Bennett, your attorney, she said, offering a warm but determined smile. Mary called me. I specialize in family disputes and criminal cases. We're going to protect you. Anna blinked, overwhelmed. Protect me? From my own family. Laura nodded, pulling up a chair. Noah's testimony is damning, but we need to build a strong case. The police are questioning Emily, Kathleen, and Richard now. We have evidence, texts, receipts, and the drugs, but we'll need your statement to move forward. Anna's mind reeled. She looked at Jake, then Mary, their faces anchoring her. What did Noah say exactly? She asked Clark. He's been suspicious for months, Clark replied. After your miscarriage, Emily's behavior changed. Late-night calls with your parents, secretive meetings. Noah found the texts last week, after Emily planned her surprise for the baby shower. He says she wanted to humiliate you publicly, to put you in your place. The push down the stairs, he believes Kathleen acted impulsively, but it fits their pattern. Anna's stomach churned. And Noah? Why come forward now? Mary answered, her voice soft but firm. He feels guilty. He knew something was wrong, but didn't act until he saw you fall. He's in the waiting room, Anna. He wants to see you, when you're ready. Anna nodded slowly, her emotions a tangled mess. Noah, the quiet man she'd barely known, had shattered her world with his honesty. I want to see him, she said, surprising herself. But not yet. I need time. Laura leaned forward. Take all the time you need. My job is to ensure your family faces consequences legally, fairly. We're looking at charges of assault for the fall and potentially poisoning for the miscarriage. Noah's cooperation strengthens our case. Anna's gaze drifted to the window, the city's lights blurring through her tears. Her family, her blood, had betrayed her in ways she couldn't fathom. Yet, surrounded by Jake, Mary, and now Laura, she felt a flicker of strength. What do I do now? She asked, her voice small. Rest, Jake said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Then we fight. Together. Laura nodded. We'll start with your statement tomorrow. The police will handle the investigation, and I'll ensure every piece of evidence is airtight. Your family won't walk away from this. Clark stood, adjusting his coat. We found more than just drugs at your parents' home. There's a paper trail of pharmacy visits, coded messages. It's early, but it's solid. We'll keep you updated. As Clark left, Anna turned to Mary. Did you know? About them, I mean. Mary's eyes softened with regret. I suspected they were cold, but not this. Jake told me bits and pieces, how they dismissed your pain. I should have pushed harder. Anna reached for Mary's hand, her cast heavy. You're here now. That's what matters. That evening, after Mary and Laura stepped out to discuss legal details, Jake stayed by Anna's side. The hospital room was quiet, save for the faint beeping of a monitor. I'm so sorry, Jake said, his voice thick. I should have seen it sooner. Anna shook her head, tears falling anew. None of us did. But Noah, he's giving us a chance to make this right. Jake kissed her forehead. We'll get justice, Anna. I promise. She closed her eyes, exhaustion pulling at her. The betrayal cut deep, but Noah's courage, his choice to expose the truth, lit a spark in her. Her family had tried to break her, but she wasn't alone. As sleep claimed her, a new resolve took root. She would face her family, not as a victim, but as a survivor demanding accountability. Sunlight streamed through the windows of Anna Wilson's Brooklyn apartment, warming the oak table where she sat with a steaming mug of coffee. It was May 2026, a year since the shattering events of Emily's baby shower. Anna, now 33, traced the rim of her mug, her eyes distant but calm. The scars of her family's betrayal, Emily's cruel mockery, Kathleen's push down the stairs, the chilling truth about her miscarriage had reshaped her life. Yet, in the soft morning light, she felt a quiet strength. She had survived, and today, she was building something new. Jake, 36, shuffled into the kitchen, his hair tousled from sleep. Morning, he said, kissing her forehead before grabbing a coffee. You're up early. Thinking about the trial again. Anna nodded, a faint smile tugging at her lips. Among other things. The trial had ended 3 months ago, a grueling process that forced her to face her sister and parents in a Manhattan courtroom. Emily, 29, had sobbed, claiming her joke at the baby shower was harmless, but the evidence was undeniable. Noah's testimony, backed by text messages, pharmacy receipts, and lab-confirmed drugs, painted a damning picture. Emily received 4 years in prison for conspiracy and assault. Kathleen and Richard, 59 and 61, each got 5 for their roles in the poisoning and the push. The judge's gavel had been a cathartic sound, sealing their consequences. It was tough, Anna said, her voice steady. Standing there, looking at them. I thought I'd feel hate, but I just felt free. Jake sat across from her, his hazel eyes warm. You were incredible. You faced them, and won. The victory was bittersweet. Emily had given birth in prison, and the child, a girl, was under state care until Noah, now divorced, could take custody. Anna had visited the baby once, her heart aching for the innocent life caught in the fallout. Noah's doing his best, she told Jake. He's moving to Queens, wants to raise her alone. I told him we'd help. Jake raised an eyebrow, impressed. He's stepping up. Didn't see that coming. Me neither, Anna admitted. But that child deserves love. She's not her mother. The doorbell rang, breaking the moment. Anna stood, smoothing her sweater, and opened the door to find Aunt Mary, 56, her face bright with a familiar spark. Behind her stood a girl, about 13, with curly brown hair and nervous eyes clutching a backpack. Anna, Jake, Mary said, her voice warm. Meet Emma. She's the daughter of a friend who passed last month. No other family. Anna's heart skipped, her mind flashing to recent talks with Jake about adoption. After her miscarriage, doctors had warned that natural pregnancy might be difficult, but she and Jake had opened their hearts to other paths. "Hi, Emma," Anna said, kneeling slightly. "It's nice to meet you." Emma's eyes darted up, hesitant but curious. "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Wilson," Aunt Mary said. "You're kind." She paused, then added, "Family doesn't have to be blood, right?" Anna's throat tightened, tears pricking her eyes. She glanced at Mary, who nodded encouragingly. "That's right," Anna said, taking Emma's hand. "Family is about love and respect." They moved to the living room, where Emma sat on the couch, her backpack at her feet. Mary explained, "Emma's been through a lot, but she's strong. She heard about you from my friend, your work, your story. She wanted to meet you." Emma fidgeted, then spoke, her voice soft but clear. "I saw your designs online. The way you make old buildings beautiful, it's like you give them a new life. I thought, maybe you could do that for people too." Anna's heart swelled. She looked at Jake, who gave a subtle nod, his eyes shining. "We'd like to get to know you, Emma," Anna said. "No pressure, just one step at a time." Emma's face lit up, a shy smile breaking through. "I like that." Later, as Mary and Emma left for a hotel, Mary insisted on giving them space. Anna and Jake sat on their balcony, the city's hum a soothing backdrop. The spring breeze carried the scent of blooming trees, a promise of renewal. "What do you think?" Jake asked, his hand finding hers. "She's special," Anna said, her voice thick with emotion. "It's a big step, but I feel ready." "Do you?" Jake squeezed her hand. "I do. Let's take it slow, but I'm in." Anna leaned against him, her gaze drifting to the starry sky. A year ago, she'd been betrayed by those she called family, Emily's jealousy, her parents' cold ambition. They tried to erase her, to diminish her light. But now, surrounded by Jake, Mary, and the possibility of Emma, she saw a new truth. Family wasn't blood. It was the people who chose you, who stood by you when the world crumbled. "I heard from Laura," Jake said, breaking the silence. "Your parents and Emily are being transferred to a facility upstate after their sentences. They're still blaming you, but they're out of our lives." Anna nodded, unsurprised. "Let them. They don't get to define me anymore." She thought of the past year, rebuilding her strength, leaning on Mary's weekly calls, visiting Chicago for holidays with Jake's warm, chaotic family. Her design studio had thrived, with new projects across Brooklyn and Manhattan. She'd even started mentoring young designers, finding joy in nurturing their dreams. And now, Emma, a girl who saw beauty in second chances, just as Anna did. That night, as they lay in bed, Anna stared at the ceiling, no longer haunted by the mural from her fall. "True family," she whispered, her voice steady. "That's what we're building." Jake pulled her close, his breath warm against her hair. A damn good one, too. Outside, the spring breeze stirred the city, carrying away the ghosts of her past. Anna closed her eyes, not with fear, but with hope. Her blood family had tried to break her, but she'd risen, forged anew by love, resilience, and the promise of a future she'd chosen. With Jake, Emma, and the family they'd create, Anna knew this was her new dawn.